So, Chris Anderson, editor-in-chief, Wired magazine. Actually, I think he may no longer be editor-in-chief. He runs his own, kind of the company alluded to in that video, which is the unmanned aerial vehicle company. He's kind of gone into 3D printing big time as well. So I think Chris Anderson actually runs a couple of companies these days. But nonetheless, he's the author of Free, Why Zero is the Future of Business. And so does a great job of explaining that with the world's most boring person from Google, I have to say. But nonetheless, does a great job. So I need to make sure we understand. There's a few things students really struggle to understand in that particular video, and it's really important for this notion of free. So let's talk about direct cross-subsidies. And the example that Chris Anderson talks about is the Starbucks muffin, and how Starbucks, you know, they make a muffin, they cut it up, and they give you a piece to entice you to buy a Starbucks muffin. And here's the deal. For every muffin that gets made, there's flour, there's sugar, there's, let's say, chocolate, and there's oven time, and there's, you know, the person making the stuff. But there's the real direct cross-subsidies are the actual costs of the flour, the sugar, and the chocolate, and the gas to make the each individual new muffin. And indeed, I guess the time it takes to get that done from the baker as well. So there are 5 real costs to getting that done. And you have to capture those costs. You can't just keep making muffins and giving them away. You are spending real money doing that. And so this is direct cross-subsidy. It's where those real 5 costs have to be put into the actual costs of muffins that get sold. That's direct cross-subsidy. Now, an indirect cross-subsidy is where those 5 costs get put into something else. So it might be you make muffins just to entice people in, but maybe you don't sell muffins, you only sell coffee. Well, an indirect cross-subsidy would be those 5 actual costs need to get rolled in or added to the cost of the coffee that gets sold. So that's direct cross-subsidies. And here's the thing, guys. In the real world, the physical world, there are real costs, and you have to capture those costs. You can't just keep giving away Starbucks muffins. You have to have people pay for the stuff that makes those muffins up. The digital world is incredibly different. And here's how it is, and there's a key piece you need to not forget. There is actual cost. But when you've built an application, once the application's built and it's ready to upload to the Google Play Store or to the Apple Store, the App Store, after you've completed the product, all the costs are done at that point. And what is the name for a cost that you've incurred and you're kind of done with? Yeah, those are called sunk costs. And so when it comes to applications, you have these things called sunk costs. And a sunk cost is a sunk cost, as in you've already incurred it, whether you make a ton of money or very little money, those sunk costs are incurred, whether you sell a lot or not. And that's the digital world that we exist in, or I exist in, and you do too, is this notion that you build an application and now you have sunk costs. You upload it to the Google Play Store and the App Store by Apple. And from that point on, there are 0 storage costs and there are 0 distribution costs. So at that point, you already have sunk costs, but there's nothing you can do about those. There's no new additional costs. And so at that point, you could give away 1 copy of your app, or you could give 1,000,000 copies away, and nothing would change for you. Or you can give 1,000,000 away and hopefully sell 1,000 for $10 each and make 10 grand, and hopefully that 10 grand covers your sunk costs. And that's the difference between the digital world and the real world. In the real world, you have actual costs for a Starbucks muffin. In the digital world, yes, you have sunk costs, but once you've incurred those costs, your new costs go to 0. The cost to store, distribute, and in many cases sell is almost zero. And as Chris Anderson beautifully puts it, this is the best form of marketing, freemium. You give away your product, people try it. If they hate it, no harm, no foul. If they love it, they will be willing to pay a premium. And so some of you do that. Some of you pay for premium Flickr. Some of you pay for premium content. Some of you pay for premium storage. I pay for premium OneDrive on my machine, cloud storage. Why? Because I want a lot and I don't want to have to worry about it. Some of you pay for premium iCloud from Apple. Why? Because you want to be able to store unlimited pictures. You don't want to have to delete pictures. Crazy people. But that's what you do. You figured it worked. You kind of liked it. You can share your photos. You can have access to them anytime, any place. And now you're willing to pay a premium for a product that was free. And that's a fantastic world to be in. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about direct and indirect cross-subsidies, whereas we have in a digital world sunk cost. And understanding those differences is absolutely critical.